Hello and welcome to another edition of the Schmozcast. I'm your host, Anthony Deneau. We got Chandler Daniels, Andre Martinez, and Aiden, insert last name,
Ackard.
Aiden Ackard.
Or English. Either one.
Yeah, that's good. As long as you speak English, that works. Just kidding. To our friends across the world who are, of course, listening to the Schmozcast. We're available anywhere the internet is, right?
Indeed.
You can find us. We're out there. Here's a weak transition. Grandmaster Sexay's music, Too Cool, who you're hearing now, has unfortunately passed away, hanging himself in jail. You guys have a great moment for him. I think the height of his career, certainly with WWF, WWE, would have been the Rikishi Too Cool gimmick. I know they were Too Much and some other things before that, but it wasn't until Rikishi really joined the crew that they really took off. And as somebody tweeted this week from in WWE, that they were as hot as anybody at that time.
Oh yeah, I think my all-time favorite Too Cool moment, including Grandmaster Sexay, Brian Lawler, is, I can't remember what year it was, but the three of them were in the Rumble together, and they had a moment where it was just the three of them in the ring, and they put the glasses on Rikishi, and they all dance, and then Rikishi ends up like double clotheslining both of them, and I'm pretty sure then he eliminates them both. But that is like the one moment probably for me that sticks out the most when it comes to Too Cool.
I would agree with that. I think the way it went down was it was Rikishi and Grandmaster Sexay in the ring with a bunch of other people. They ended up clearing the ring, and the two of them were kind of looking like they were going to fight, and then the countdown comes, music hits for the next person, which is
Scotty Too
Hotty. Oh my gosh. And he comes running down, and they both convince Rikishi to put on the glasses, and then they dance for a good minute, and he double clotheslines them and throws them out. So yeah, that was a great moment, probably my favorite. But just them in general dancing with Rikishi was what got them over.
His entrance, man, everything about Grandmaster Sexay. He was just so over the top and funny. He would do the Thriller dance on his way to the ring and do the little shovel move, and oh man, so much fun.
That was Royal Rumble 2000 that you guys are talking about, which is not just my favorite Royal Rumble, probably my favorite pay-per-view of all time. But that was a great moment. There's some other Brian Lawler, Too Much, Too Sexy, Grandmaster Sexy moments. The putting the head on the shoulders. We talked about King of the Ring 1998. That was It was Scott Taylor and Brian Christopher against Al Snow and Head, and to win, Brian Christopher put a lotion, a bottle of Head and Shoulders, connected it to Head, and then pinned it with the shoulders down. So that's how they beat Al Snow and Head. So that was another, I guess, fun moment for them. But sad to see that this happened. I mean, wrestling tragedies are not few and far between, unfortunately. And X-Pac, I think, tweeted this week that solitary confinement should really only be for the hardest of criminals, and that, you know, that kind of thing can just drive you crazy. And it's seemingly that's what he thought maybe was the case here.
I hadn't heard any of that. I hadn't heard really anything related to that. I didn't know that he was in solitary confinement when it happened.
Yep, they put him in because of his notoriety, so for his own safety, I guess. But I don't know. It's just a sad situation. You can always play the what if game, but it's like in a situation like this, all you can do is just offer condolences to the family of Brian Christopher, especially Jerry the King Lawler, who we know was there and held his son's hand as he was in the hospital. So that's got to be crushing to them. So nothing but positive thoughts and prayers to them.
Aiden, are you too young to know too much Grandmaster Sexy, or is it pretty much that was Jerry Lawler's son, as far as you know, really?
No, I mean, as a younger fan, I did not grow up with anything that he did in the ring, but I did, I forced myself to watch every single Royal Rumble in order, just to educate myself, since it's available to me, and the Royal Rumble is a very big, one of the big pay-per-views. So I held myself accountable to watch it all, to educate myself, to become a better wrestling fan. And indeed, the Royal Rumble 2000, when they just stopped the entire Royal Rumble for Scotty Too Hotty, Grandmaster Sexay, and Rikishi to just dance in the ring and entertain Madison Square Garden.
And back it up.
So much fun.
I wish they would have danced a little longer, and then Rikishi just, instead of clotheslines them, just kind of grabs the back of their heads and just throws them instead of hitting them, because, come on, that's not cool.
That was too cool. That was a literal Martinez comment right there. My apologies to the world.
You don't need to apologize for that, pal.
Someone who didn't need to apologize was Brock Lesnar, because he finally showed up to work on Monday. Andre, what do you think about Brock Lesnar finally getting to see him on Raw after all these weeks? I know that's kind of the plan, and you're going to tell us a little bit about that.
I liked it. I didn't like Raw as a whole, but I did enjoy the Brock Lesnar segments because I love how worked up wrestling fans are getting over Brock Lesnar when that is exactly the attitude that WWE wants you to have. So I'm going to give props to WWE because they are knocking it out of the park with this Brock Lesnar thing, because they're getting the exact reaction that they want from the fans. And I thought all the little nods to that was great. Specifically him saying to Paul Heyman, Paul, why would I watch the show? I don't watch the show. And saying he doesn't want to go out there. Since he came here, he's fulfilled his contractual obligation. He wants to go home and sit on his couch. I thought it was all great. And Paul Heyman knocked it out of the park as usual, because Paul Heyman's one of the best talkers in the history of professional wrestling and one of the best actors. He stole the show Monday night with his acting. It was one of the few bright spots for me. I know it's ultimately going to probably end with Roman Reigns winning, and I'm not looking forward to that because I don't know. You all know my feelings on that. Nothing personal against Lesnar. I think he's a really good talent. Roman, he's a really good talent. I just don't want to see him winning it. But the way they're going about doing it with Lesnar, I'm enjoying, because they're kind of giving a little middle finger to the fans, especially the online fans, and I love it because I love watching people get so upset at someone because they're supposed to get upset. And I think it's great. It's working like a charm for WWE if they want people to hate Lesnar and want the title to be taken off of him at any cost by anyone.
Aiden, it seems like even with Lesnar's return, that Raw is getting a lot of bad reviews the last couple days since it went on. So did this change anything for you and your thoughts on Raw, or did it really just kind of stay in the same ebb and flow we've had for the last few months, or even if you want to go back to WrestleMania and not getting too much out of our Monday Night Raws, really, outside of there's certainly been a few good Rollins matches in there and some other good moments, but for the most part, Raw has been seemingly pretty awful based on crowd response these last few months. Did Lesnar's presence do anything for you?
Well, I've already stated before that crowd presence has been kind of muted by my subconscious, so I don't really listen to them anymore since I'm not supposed to. I'm supposed to watch what's in the ring. And what was done in the ring was actually pretty entertaining. Because I found the secret to making a great heel is to get a real buff guy, and then he wants his steak medium well.
Thank you for pointing that out. That was
heels eat steaks medium well.
That was the worst call. That was the worst move. The biggest heel move that Brock Lesnar pulled the whole night was revealing that he eats his steaks medium well. Thank you for bringing that up.
I bet
if you weren't going to, I would have.
Chandler, is there going to be a payoff to this that actually makes this whole trial and tribulations of Lesnar and Reigns worth it? Like, will is it the SummerSlam payoff, and is that finally going to be not just the end of the story, but also an ending that makes the journey and some of the middling chapters along the way better? Or is this kind of, there's not much they can do?
It's such a foregone conclusion. I don't think that there's really much that can be done at this point. It's pretty obvious. If it wasn't already obvious before the two matches with Bobby Lashley, it's definitely obvious after those two matches, because you have Bobby Lashley beat Roman Reigns clean in a one-on-one match at Extreme Rules, and then a couple weeks later loses to Roman Reigns on an episode of Monday Night Raw, and Roman Reigns is the number one contender. At this point, I feel like it's pretty obvious what's going to happen, and it's going to be Roman taking the title at SummerSlam.
Andre, if we do get a Strowman cash-in, does that change? I don't know. I guess, I know you're going to think more positively on that, but is that also too much of a foregone conclusion?
Not at all. I would love for him to cash in, because I don't want to see a babyface Roman Reigns win the title, but I know it's going to happen, so I'm preparing myself for it. I don't want to sound like someone who's whining about Roman Reigns, but I'm not a fan of him as a babyface, especially in this current role. So, yes, it would definitely change it for me if Braun Strowman cashed in and were to walk out of SummerSlam the Universal Champion. But other than that, I'm just like, I can't wait till it's over. It sucks that it's going to be Roman, but whatever, get it. Take care of what you need to take care of. I personally like Brock Lesnar. I wish that he was used more than just to get Roman Reigns over these past 2 years, but that's seemingly what it is. So, yeah, no, Braun would definitely help with that for me.
Andre, I don't know if you want to get your Twitter out now, but I'm going to ask you about some of your back and forth with, is it Forbes writer Blake Ostreicher?
Yes, Forbes.
Okay, he's not your buddy, and we've heard this on the show from you before, that you've kind of had a few back and forths with him. But what's going on most recently in your Twitter
Well,
feed?
he wrote an
Blake
article,
Ostreicher?
and I'll admit I didn't read the article because whatever. But he tweeted out something. The article, first of all, was about how come the fans aren't as mad as AJ Styles as they are as Brock Lesnar. And his argument is that AJ Styles has had a lackluster title run as well. And his claim was that that AJ's only good match was against Brock Lesnar. And I vehemently disagree with that. So I tweeted at him, and we had a short conversation. But basically, he was saying, I pointed out some of the matches he had. I can't remember all of them now, but I pointed out the Rusev match. I pointed out the Daniel Bryan match. I pointed out a couple matches.
Shinsuke matches minus the
WrestleMania, a couple others. And then he responded back with something to the extent of, well, I meant pay-per-view matches. He's had some good TV matches, so he's kind of moving the goalposts. Whatever. So I said, okay, fair enough, but I disagree with that too because the Lesnar match was not the only good match, pay-per-view match, because he had the six-pack challenge, which I enjoyed. He had the 2-on-1 handicap match, told a really good story. He had the
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
KO and Sami Zayn, and then he had what's the one I just had on the tip of my tongue, the Brock Lesnar one, which obviously counts as well. So I don't know. So we went back and forth. So I disagree with him on that. I think that the two title runs are not anywhere the same, and AJ Styles is always there too. So I don't understand why his logic behind the fans should be just as mad at AJ as they are at Brock Lesnar.
That's ridiculous. That's you can't make that claim.
He's there every week. He's like sort of the Iron Man in a lot of ways right now since Dean Ambrose went down, would be AJ Styles. So, and I think he's the Bret Hart or the Shawn Michaels of our time in a lot of ways. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to agree with Ostreicher either on that.
No.
And I'm going to go in and read the article tonight too, just to make sure. But based on the tweets that he was putting out, it's like if the tweets are opposite of what he's saying in the article, then that's even more of a strike against him. But I've been, as I said a couple weeks ago, I've been somewhat agreeing with him here and there more recently, but that his most recent take was just kind of, not my thing.
Okay, so let's get your guys' overall thoughts on AJ Styles' title run. It seems that we are always calling for Shinsuke to win it or Rusev to win it, but we can only have one champion. But is that saying that we don't view that highly of AJ Styles' reign, or is that just like we just want everyone to be the champion who we like, or how do we decipher, I guess, what's what here?
I guess especially more recently with challengers like Rusev and other people that I actually wouldn't mind seeing be the champion. The fact that the outcome is still AJ being champion to me says that I think that I'm more than okay with his title run. I think that I don't know. I feel like I don't give the matches that he had with Shinsuke as much grief as everyone else does. I feel like they were good matches that told a story that was told throughout a series of 3 or 4 matches, and I feel like a lot of people, anyone that's throwing shade at his title run is mostly because of that, even though he was a champion before that and he's still a champion after. And like I said, in my opinion, it's just those matches weren't bad, and I feel I don't know. He's had a lengthy title run, and if he would have lost the title to Rusev, I think that I would have been okay with it just because of how long he's been champion, but he's still champ, and I'm okay with that as well. So, I don't know. I feel like he's had a great WWE Championship run, and the things that Samoa Joe brought up in his promo on SmackDown everything that he said is absolutely true. He's made that the most important, the most prestigious title in the entire WWE. Like it's that title and the Intercontinental Championship are the two most important championships.
So time out. So everything he said was true. So AJ Styles is a bad dad and a bad family man?
That part is true as well. Hey man, I agree. I agree with everything that Samoa Joe said in that promo. And there's no way, as hard as AJ has worked and as much as he's gone around the world defending that title and everything like that, there's no way that he has time to see his daughter and tell her that one day she can main event in Evolution. Whatever it was.
Of course, AJ is a terrible father. He has to tattoo his kid's birthday so he can remember that. I can't remember those. So he has a tattoo on his side. It's like, oh yeah, that's the day.
Oh man,
I'll work that day.
And he has to put the ball on the daughter so that he knows that's the girl, the little pink ball.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
That is hilarious.
Ruthless.
I love his title reign. I just want to say that his title reign has been
Yeah.
great, and I just think people don't like it because they're seeing all their favorites get beaten by him. But if you're going to beat by someone, beat by a champ that's one of the longest reigning champs in the modern era, and compared to Brock that actually defends it night in and night out, house shows and everything.
That's
and is on
what I want.
TV.
I wanted to bring that up. Even if AJ only did show up on TV, he would still be there more than Brock has been his entire Universal title run. But the fact that AJ shows up every week for TV and he works house shows too, it's just that's why there's no just for that fact alone, there's no base to put out an article with that headline that you brought up, Andre. In my opinion, like you said, I haven't read the article either, but just from that headline alone, you can't. There's no grounds for that.
Yeah, I absolutely love AJ Styles. The reason why I'm wearing an AJ Styles shirt right now, it's going to be quite clear about that. And so the reason that we all love this title reign is, firstly, it came at the perfect time. Jinder Mahal was not a good champion.
Disagree.
Agree to disagree. I didn't think Jinder Mahal was a great champion. He was entertaining, not great. And the fans were obviously, I know I don't listen to the fans all that often, but it's hard to ignore the reaction as soon as AJ won it from Jinder Mahal, who they all, everyone hates the heel, so they cheer on the face, and as soon as the face wins, the crowd goes nuts. But it really did come at a time because, and then to say that we want him to lose is not fair because I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to say because I had it all in my head, but now I'm blanking on everything. But we don't want AJ to lose necessarily. We want him to, if he's going to drop the title, we want it to be in a glorious manner.
Oh boy.
Or a phenomenal manner.
Yes,
Which his whole title reign has been phenomenal.
Yes.
I just think people are a little impatient. People, they want to see their guys win. And then when their guys finally win, there's another guy that they want to see win. And they don't let, because before this, they were saying AJ Styles should be champion, and now he's champion, and all of a sudden fans are like, well, not a small minority. Most people love AJ. I'm not going to. But the Blake Strikers of the world are making claims like this. And it's like, the long title reigns are great. I don't know.
There's a reason why so many people consider AJ Styles the best wrestler in the world right now. I will agree to that. He is one of the best. I won't say he's the best because that's favoritism. And, can't be favored in wrestling.
AJ Styles is at 267 days, so he's 2 weeks away from doubling his most previous championship run to that, which started September 11th of 2016. The one that he currently holds, this current reign, he took over November 7th of last year. So really just 3 months and a week away from making it a year. There was a Twitter question to Dave Meltzer that he has been responding to this last day or so about, will we ever see a reign like Okada had in New Japan, but in WWE? Do you guys think that this is possible? Dave Meltzer said that yes, it is possible, but I think there was certain ramifications that he kind of put on that. But AJ Styles in some way could go another year, and that would be very similar to the Okada title reign, I think.
And Okada only defended it a handful of times during his title reign. not to compare him to Brock, because some people have done that because they're booked completely different. But he's defended it a pretty similar amount of time as Brock Lesnar has. So if you want to say that, I think AJ Styles is pretty close. I mean, I know he hasn't had the Okada Omega matches and all the other matches he's had, but for WWE, he's definitely their Iron Man right now.
That's why I also don't like when people compare Brock Lesnar's current reign not just to AJ Styles, but also to the
wasn't
one.
comparing
No,
it to
no,
Reigns.
I know, no. That's what I'm saying. And then to compare those two with the amount of times that AJ Styles has defended the title since he's got it, and then also when they compare Brock Lesnar's run versus CM Punk's run, like, come on, CM Punk defended the title hundreds of times, not less than a dozen. So I don't like comparing those at all. But Chandler, what do you think about an Okada style championship run in WWE? And are we close to seeing that if AJ Styles did happen to go a year from now, if we didn't see him drop it until next summer or later than that?
I mean, I feel like that's as close as you're going to get to what Okada was able to do with his world title run that he just came off of. And I guess if you were, like, if the powers that be in WWE did want to recreate that, I guess now would be the time to just keep the title on AJ. And like you said, a year from now, next summer would be the time to drop it, for him to drop the title. I don't know necessarily if that's something I would want to see, but if you're going to go for it, I guess now would be the time to just keep the title on him and keep that going.
Aiden, would you get a little tiresome with another year of AJ Styles as champion in comparison to an Okada reign that we saw the last few years, really?
Tiresome is not what I would describe it as. I'd feel like they're trying to ride a bandwagon of sorts where they seem like almost if they did that, they'd almost be catering to the fans that watch both WWE and New Japan, and they don't have to do that because there's New Japan and there's WWE. They're two different things. I mean, one's better than the other, but
And the funny thing is those same fans that talk about how great Okada is and how great his run is, if they tried that in WWE with AJ Styles, those same fans would get mad and say that, oh, how come so-and-so's not getting a title shot? It's always AJ Styles, blah, 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 blah.
Very true.
Yeah, the thing is, it's two different fan groups, and you have the Japanese base where wrestling is treated differently there. It's like a much higher level of respect than they have in America, because Americans compared to the Japanese fans, the Japanese audiences, and if you try to do something that worked in Japan, it's not necessarily going to work in America.
I got a quick question for you guys. If hypothetically AJ Styles is being groomed to be WWE's Okada, who is going to be WWE's Omega? Meaning, who's going to be the one to finally take the title off of him?
All right. With the SmackDown roster as it's currently constructed, I'm not sure AJ Styles gets through SummerSlam. I don't know though. That really is tough. I'm gonna pull up SmackDown's roster here, but it's not as easy as you think. You guys have someone you'd like to be that person to take over?
I do, but it's not realistic because it's completely biased fan.
Daniel Bryan?
Opinion. No. Oh, actually.
Oh.
I was gonna say Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. I just changed it. I was gonna say Cien Almas. I was gonna say keep it on AJ for another year and keep building up Cien Almas and have him take it. But I am incredibly biased because Cien is one of my favorite wrestlers in the world right now. But Daniel Bryan, heck yeah, that would be a great one too.
Anybody? Chan?
Aiden looks like he was about to answer.
Oh, get in there.
There's such a long list of potential dream matches that would be WrestleMania worthy. Daniel Bryan obviously being one of them, and plenty of NXT guys. Johnny Gargano, that's a possibility. That could always be a great match.
He'll get screwed by Ciampa when he tries to win it.
Yeah, we know that. But the finish would be, the match itself would still be, main event worthy. There's still so many guys that could fill that role so easily right now. The likes of Finn Balor, even. There's a lot of potential here.
Because technically, whoever wins the Rumble can choose their champion. That's what AJ did, or that's what Shinsuke did. He said he chose AJ.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have someone on Raw that you want, that WWE wants to face AJ at the biggest show of all. I was trying to think of one of the nicknames for WrestleMania. Completely slipped my mind. On the grandest stage of all, that's what I was trying to think of. Then
Jesus.
have that person win the Rumble and challenge AJ. That's simple as that.
Chan, you got an opinion on this?
Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins, that's good. So for SmackDown roster, let's choose each roster here. If we're gonna go SmackDown roster for the next Omega Okada, I think I want Cien Almas versus Daniel Bryan. I think that would be a year and a half of 4 or 5 classics between those two. I don't think that's that far fetched if they do push Cien a little bit quicker, but that would be fun. And let's see.
I'm sold on that.
Also, according to Wikipedia, the Colognes still have a job.
Do they though?
Breaking news. Yeah, they get a paycheck. I don't know if it's a job.
They're probably
you have to
wrestling
work
on
to have a
house
job,
shows.
right?
They're working on house shows. That's what Mike
Selling
Kanellis
hot
is
dogs.
They're selling those brochures for their travel thing, right?
Con artists.
Con artists, dude.
Hey, they're getting in the ring.
Timeshare scam. You got to be kidding me. Then looking at the Monday Night Raw roster, it's hard, to not go with Seth Rollins. I don't know. I mean, I almost want to pick a guy because Okada's 30, which makes me wonder what went wrong with my life.
Do you guys think John Cena is going to be the one to beat AJ for his 17th title? That just came.
Yeah, I sure hope not.
You don't want to see that?
No.
You want to see because you want to see Cena on Raw, or you don't want to see him eclipse
it's the fact
the
that
record?
I had so much respect for Ric Flair that I was against him even tying it. I don't want him to surpass it.
Okay.
That's a fair enough
that's a
reason.
personal thing.
Totally.
But I know, John Cena loves WWE. WWE loves John Cena. Same, with all the big names that they've gotten over the years. But come on, it's almost a spin in the face to the Nature Boy.
God, Monday Night Raw, I almost like
Is their roster as bad as their show is?
The Monday Night Raw roster is not that good. You want me to read it?
Please no.
Actually,
Just kidding.
Weird thought. Sami Zayn.
Yeah, I'm thinking Sami Zayn and
Sami
Seth
Zayn,
Rollins.
AJ Styles.
And AJ Styles, yeah. Yeah,
that could
good
be.
too.
That could
That's a
possibly
good
be a
one.
great match. They're great workers.
I'm still saying Cien's got to be the one. The 100.
Hey, I'm just saying, never say never. Sami Zayn's a great wrestler.
Literal Martinez here, folks.
No, Sami Zayn's awesome. I love Sami Zayn too.
So Raw continues to suck. I think you guys are all in agreement. All 3 of you guys watched it. I didn't because...
Hey, I love it as background noise.
Okay.
To help you sleep. No, I'm just kidding.
While I'm browsing Reddit, I love listening to it, halfway.
Not bad. Not bad filler time there, I suppose. But Samoa Joe's promo on SmackDown seems to be, I guess, trending or buzzworthy right now. What did you guys think of that?
I brought it up a little bit earlier. It was a great Samoa Joe promo, and he brought up the fact that he does respect AJ Styles. He does respect this title run that he's on and what he's done for the WWE Championship and what it means now. But then he also brought up the fact that since he does work so hard and work so much that he can't be a good father. and he also goes on to say that, secretly his family, that being AJ Styles' family, is kind of rooting for Samoa Joe so that he will take the title away from him and can finally send Daddy home to his family. So it was a great promo.
Joe's one of the best talkers in the business, as
Hands
we've
down.
said before, and that promo is just another example. SmackDown had 2 incredible heel promos, one of which we'll probably get to a little bit later, but the Samoa Joe one was, I usually don't say this for people like AJ, but it was phenomenal. Chandler already hit all the nails of that promo, so I won't repeat what he said, but phenomenal promo.
I feel that in order to make a rivalry feel like it's real, you bring the family into it.
And success on this point
And
for
as
Samoa
soon
Joe.
as you bring the family into it, and the other guy gets mad, that the heel wins that argument.
So are we If you have to vote right now, is Samoa Joe your next NXT champion? Jeepers, criminy. Is he?
Why not? Give him another run.
That's right. Yeah. Is he the next champion? And is he going to win it at SummerSlam?
That's a good question. I mean, I think that I said earlier that AJ has had a nice lengthy run, so for him to lose the championship to Samoa Joe at SummerSlam would be a huge moment for Samoa Joe in his career, and it would help Samoa Joe more than winning it at just some random pay-per-view. So I think that this would be a good time for AJ to lose the title, but I'm not entirely sure. Just the way that he's been booked, he's pretty much untouchable at this point. I'm not really sure what direction they're going to go with it, and that's a part of the reason why I'm so excited for this match, not just because of the history between these two, but for the simple fact that they could go either way with it, and I'm not sure one way or another what they're going to do.
I'm not sure one way or another either, and honestly, I'm happy either way, and I think that's a great position for WWE to be in, especially considering the main event, the Raw main event for SummerSlam, which is right now Roman versus Brock. The outcome of that one, a lot of people aren't going to be happy with. The outcome of this one, people will be happy with either way, I think. And if Joe were to win it, I think that would be awesome. I would love to see it. I think it would be a great change of pace for the show, SmackDown, for the main event scene, for AJ, and for, especially as Chandler pointed out, for Samoa Joe. It would be a huge win for Samoa Joe and a big moment in his career, probably the biggest moment in his WWE career. Not probably, definitely. And yeah, I think it's going to be AJ, though. I think he's going to retain it, but I won't be surprised if Samoa Joe does, and I don't care who wins either way. I'm just going to enjoy the match and be thoroughly entertained by two of the best performers in the world.
The Macho Man's down the middle, 50-50.
Uh-huh.
I think we can all agree Samoa Joe's a great wrestler. AJ Styles is phenomenal. We know this they can't screw this match up. It's going to be a good match. I mean, who knows what the finish will be, but we know that this cannot not be a bad match. They're two of the best in the business right now. And if I'm not mistaken, this would be Samoa Joe's first WWE title?
Yes, outside of NXT.
Yeah, so and he has come such a long way because, you know, some guys you get from NXT and you rush them too quickly, you know, Bobby Roode. And it just doesn't work out. But I think they were smart enough to take their time with Joe. They brought him in to, you know, start off by attacking Seth Rollins and being Triple H's, like, you know, hitman or whatever. And, you know, eventually over time becomes, you know, an actual hitman, but for his own gain and putting guys to sleep.
I know we talked a lot about stipulations recently, and I'm okay with them doing away with stipulations for a while, or at least maybe scattered about as opposed to consistently. But a submission match to me would be a lot of fun between these two.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You guys, I have never seen them fight in that I can recall from TNA.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
But that's one
some
of the best
matches
Yeah.
in both of their careers are against each other in TNA. Look it up, definitely. Oh,
Especially
man.
the two triple threats with those two and Christopher
Daniels, yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
2004 and 2009, and both of those matches take place, and they're both incredible. But yeah, those two have gone back and forth. They have a history.
It's because of the history that we know this will be a great match.
How old is Samoa Joe?
38, I
guesses?
think.
He's as old as he wants to be.
That's right.
Samoa Joe makes his own rules.
39 years
39.
old.
Oh, I was off.
No, you did. That was a good guess. So I guess I sort of want Samoa Joe to win, just because I see, hopefully, the New Day doing less tag team stuff and more faction stable type stuff. And I think Big E would be a good, I guess, babyface against Samoa Joe. I think that'd be a really fun little rivalry. It doesn't have to go much longer than a month or two. You don't have to make Big E the champion right away, but I think that would be fun for I guess it'd be stepping stones for both Samoa Joe to win his first rivalry as champion, and then also for Big E to be a legitimate title contender, in my opinion.
I would love to see that. I think that the idea of New Day, like you said, doing more stable or faction type of stuff where they're just in singles matches and at ringside with each other, as opposed to them doing as much tag team wrestling, would be a good change of pace for them. And if Big E were to get a WWE Championship push out of that against Samoa Joe too, if Samoa Joe were the champion, they would have some fantastic matches.
Yeah, I have no doubt that'd be a really good top of the lineup, like for if depending on what happens with Daniel Bryan's contract, you can keep him running with The Miz or whoever without being really with the title being involved. Daniel Bryan, I don't think needs that. I think at some point you put that carrot out in front of him, but I think that would be a good kind of duo as your headliners, as Daniel Bryan versus really whoever, but probably The Miz or a Shinsuke maybe. And then you got Samoa Joe on top against a guy like Big E, or maybe Rusev as well. You throw him back in there. I think Rusev and Samoa Joe is also there. There's some fun people on SmackDown that could have some good rivalries with Samoa Joe in the top. I know you could name 5 or 6 guys that could be the champion and say the same thing, but I like Samoa Joe as champion right now.
I would like that. That would be a lot of fun. I mean, at some point Rusev's got to get that title around his waist, though. And I love Samoa Joe, but yeah, I don't know. I can't let that cloud my opinion, because obviously Rusev is not in this picture right now. So yeah, I'd love to see Samoa Joe. I would love to see him as a heel champion. It would be the first heel champion since Jinder Mahal, if I'm not mistaken. Or when did he lose it in between? Was Randy Orton?
No, Orton gave it to Mahal. Mahal gave it to Styles.
Okay, and Styles
Bray
has held it
Wyatt
ever
before
since.
that.
So yeah, I think it would be a nice change of pace, and to hear the promos from him as opposed to AJ Styles, which are going to be a lot more heelish. So I think that would be a lot of fun. But I'm just throwing it out there that everything going on right now is all placeholders for when Andrade Cien Almas takes over the world, because he is the future of the WWE.
Here's how I would book things. I'm not a professional. I'm just an optimist. So, Randy Orton, to get on another topic, snakes his way into the U.S. title picture, takes it from Shinsuke. Shinsuke remembers, oh yeah, I was supposed to be going after the big championship. And I was like, oh hey, Samoa Joe's got that championship. I think I'll knee him in the face. Maybe low blow him a couple times, because they had great matches in NXT. So why not renew that rivalry as well?
Also a possibility.
It's an idea.
Okay, Andre, between Andrade Cien Almas, Samoa Joe, we'll throw Daniel Bryan in there. We'll put Big E and Rusev. You only get to pick one to be the next champion. Who do you want it to be most?
Next?
Yes.
Probably Rusev.
You would choose Rusev over everyone that I mentioned there, including Cien Almas.
Well, yeah, because Cien's the future. He's going to have it in a year. If you're saying that he'll never get it if he doesn't get it now, then I'm going to say Cien, because that's kind of a weird metaphor or hypothetical question. But if you're talking just now, because of the future that Cien has, Rusev would be the next to get it. But if you're talking about who I most want to see with that title, it's going to be Cien because of my biased opinion. But Daniel Bryan's right up there too.
All right, I think we're split on this next issue, and that is the overall feelings on Carmella. Andre and Chandler, you guys are in agreement that you guys are both 2 thumbs up for Carmella. You guys are both fans
Of what she's doing as a heel champion. Yes, I'm a fan of that. I still am not 100% sold on her in-ring ability, which her heel antics, you can kind of, it's better to hide that, which
Sure.
is it's weird. It's kind of like a double-edged sword, because I'm not a fan of what she can do in the ring, but her heel antics kind of hide that, which is kind of a nod to her ability as a heel.
and she's still very much improved in the ring. And
Yes.
I'm not a huge fan, but I still think you
She
can't
definitely
say
has
that
improved,
she's
yes.
from 2014, 2015 when she
Yes.
kind of was first on the scene with NXT and Big Cass and Enzo Amore. She is a completely different wrestler. She could barely go at the time, and now I would say that her skills are vastly improved.
Absolutely, but just with the level of competition that she's gone against and defended the title against, she's not on that level, but her being the heel that she is, she will find a way to still walk away with the title, and I'm definitely on board with that, and her microphone skills. That's always been high up on her list as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of her as the champion currently.
Yeah, she's FAB. No, I'm just kidding. She's great. She's vastly improved, as you say. And is she Charlotte Flair? No, but she's a lot better than she was, and she continues to improve. And Cena wasn't a good wrestler when he came on the scene either, and he improved. I have so much respect for people that improve like that. And as she pointed out in her incredible promo, and when she came to NXT, she was told she was just gonna her ceiling was a hype man, and a manager, and she's busted through that ceiling, and she's a WWE SmackDown Women's Champion. And she's not the best woman in the world as far as the in-ring aspect goes, but she's gotten better, and I love the fact that she put work into her craft. She's gotten a lot better, as has someone like Lana. But I think she's great. And I didn't like her at first, Carmella, until she became champion, and I started to get into her promos, and her not talking smack. It's the post-show now. Her post-show from when her last pay-per-view, which was... What was the most
TLC
recent pay-per-view?
or
Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
She knocked it out of the park there. She did yesterday on SmackDown Live. I recommend everybody listen to that promo. It was great, and she called out the fans online. She burst into tears twice. Just great stuff, and she's won me over, and I'm 100% behind her. I don't think she should hold the championship for too much longer. Having said that, but I'm digging what they're doing with her right now.
You know, I technically agree and disagree, and I've said this before. She must be the best women heel ever because I just hate her.
Why? Because she beat Charlotte twice and Asuka twice.
Oh god. She's very hateable. And while I'm not saying she's awful, or I'm not quite sure I hate her, I know that I'm not a fan, but I'm not sure I despise her. But she really has come a long way. But I don't think that just because someone is very improved means that they should be the champion. I know it's easier because we do have two champions, but I also think that if Alexa Bliss doesn't move to Monday Night Raw, then none of this happens for Carmella, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
And yes, sometimes you want to put certain people in certain places, and that opens up a hole for someone else to show what they've got, and Carmella has done a good job of that. But I still, as improved as she is, I still don't see enough in the ring to let her be champion. And I think that at SummerSlam you gotta go away from her. It's gotta be Lynch, or it's gotta be Charlotte.
It's gotta be Lynch.
It's gotta be Lynch. Why?
It has to be Lynch.
So
because
she has not won one yet, or has she?
She has. She was the first.
She was the first. Oh, okay.
She hasn't had anything else.
I was gonna say
the story dictates it.
There's
like,
one other accolade she has, right?
First woman drafted to SmackDown Live, first women's champion.
So just first SmackDown Women's Champion.
I think that's it. Yeah.
That might be it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she needs to.
Why has she been so forgotten about?
I don't think she's been forgotten. I just think that
Lost in the shuffle. She's
not though. She's
you don't think so?
on a huge run right now.
Now. She's been forgotten
but I'm saying,
she lost the title first time.
yeah, really since those first few months of SmackDown.
That I don't know, but
I don't know. I think they kind of just cooled off on her. She was such a big part of the show, and they just kind of moved away from her, and had people like Naomi and Natalya and Charlotte herself. Other people holding the title, and I think it's just they kind of cooled off on her, and now we're looking up and we're realizing, oh, that first title run is her only title run, and she has been on a roll as of late. So that's why I feel like that's the main reason why people feel that it's her time now, and why people are kind of upset with Charlotte being added to the title match and making it a triple threat. I kind of wish that it was just going to be Becky Lynch and Carmella one-on-one. But maybe you have Becky pin Charlotte now. That way Carmella doesn't take the pinfall loss, and there's no questioning that if Becky were to pin Charlotte in this match, that she's SmackDown's number one.
I guess there's a way to book it where Charlotte and Becky have this great match, mostly with each other, and then there's I don't know, either some sort of draw or Mella uses the title in the end to get the win, something like that.
I like the idea of Becky pinning Charlotte, because I can just imagine the Carmella promo on SmackDown afterwards. It is going to be horrendous to my ears. She's going to be yelling. It's going to be Vicky Guerrero all over again.
Excuse me.
Becky Lynch was voted as this is really not her fault, but Wrestling Observer newsletter voted her in the worst feud of the year in 2015. You guys have a guess on what that is?
2015.
I saw it, so
I already saw it. I can't say,
Yeah,
so you have
that's
to
fine.
Chandler.
I'm trying to think of who she was feuding with then. I don't know.
It was not a singles feud. It's Team PCB versus
Okay.
Team Bad or BAD
Yeah.
versus Team Bella. And who was randomly on Team Bella?
It was the Bellas and Alicia Fox.
Alicia Fox,
Yep.
yes. Alicia Fox.
She's making a return, too.
That's right.
Fox.
She's fighting Ronda on Monday?
Yeah,
Or did that just happen?
They-
No,
it's
it
this
was
next
Natalia.
Monday.
It was Natalia, but yeah, next Monday.
Next
they're
week
gonna-
it will be
yeah.
Alicia Fox
Yep.
versus
her first
Ronda Rousey.
her first Monday night match on Monday Night Raw. Yep.
So she made a return just to get sent into permanent retirement. I'm just kidding.
Jesus. It's possible.
Maybe.
Becky Lynch, though, I will say, has had a strong following from the fans, even during this kind of weird
Oh yeah,
last year and a half,
she's
going back to, since she originally lost the title.
She's definitely the people's champ of the SmackDown Women's Division, and maybe just of the Women's Division. Period. Because I feel like she gets a different reaction than anyone does on Raw, than Sasha, than Bayley, and they're a couple of top baby faces as well. But Becky, she's kind of her spot with the fans, with the WWE universe. Her spot is she's kind of in a league of her own. Like people love her, and rightfully so. She's awesome.
And I think that her little quote-unquote slump, I think that helps because I think that gets her sympathy from the fans, and that gets her cutting promos like she was cutting when she was losing about. I remember after her last loss, because she's been on this huge run of beating everybody that's put in front of her, including some of the best like Charlotte and them. And right before that little run, she said, "I don't know what's going wrong. I don't know why I keep losing, but I'm gonna change and I'm gonna get back to being who I was." And that was the start of it. And I think that really helps.
And she calls herself Becky Balboa, and I love that nickname. As much as I love Straight Fire, I love Becky Balboa, especially because of how she's been booked lately and everything that Andre just brought up about the fact that she's been in a slump, but now she's turning it around and she's on this huge winning streak, and she's got a shot at the title, and everyone's behind. The whole city of Philadelphia is behind her as she runs up the steps as she's training in the morning, drinking her eggs, and it's just. I feel like they've done such a good job of telling this story with her, especially just the fact that it was she was an afterthought, and then you look up and you do realize that it's been this long since she's had a title opportunity, and let alone been the champion. And I think it's part of the reason why I wanted this match just to be one-on-one at SummerSlam, but I think that the outcome is still going to be the same, and that it needs to be Becky winning the title at SummerSlam.
Last night on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan challenged The Miz to a match at SummerSlam. Andre, you said that it's very rare that a challenge happens where it doesn't get accepted or the match doesn't end up happening. You have those same feelings on this feud?
Yeah, I think this is definitely happening at SummerSlam. I think they held it out as long as they needed to for the first big pay-per-view. And in WWE's eyes, I think SummerSlam is second biggest pay-per-view behind WrestleMania, which may change with this year or next year or whenever Evolution is. That might be their biggest pay-per-view of the year for that. For the historical aspect of it, but usually SummerSlam's the second biggest pay-per-view, so I think that they waited till the right time to do this. And the way they did it was perfect, the way that Daniel Bryan accused The Miz of ducking him and putting these walls in between them, which was another great promo that I recommend people see.
Chandler, it's possible that Daniel Bryan... maybe it was Andre. You told me that Daniel Bryan did re-sign?
I thought he did, but then I heard that he didn't. But I don't know anymore. I'm
not sure he did end up re-signing.
I thought that he did. I thought that I read that he did.
See, I had read that he did, but then I'd read that was false.
It could have been
but now I
that could have
don't
been
know.
false. Who knows?
After the whole James Ellsworth thing, I can't trust anyone anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but okay.
Whole world's turned upside down.
It's like as soon as the wink, I'm like, okay, nobody's getting my trust. You're all lying to me.
Okay, so it's August 1st, and we're gonna go around, and you're gonna say yes or no. Will we see Daniel Bryan at All In? Starting with Chandler, yes or no? It's August 1st, and I'm gonna ask you guys probably once or twice more before we get to All In. But I want to know your thoughts on August 1st. Do we see Daniel Bryan at All In some way, shape, or form?
August 1st, 2018, I say no.
You say no. 1 month. We're 1 month out, I believe. And all right, moving on to Andre. Daniel Bryan at All In.
No.
No. Aiden.
No, it's too late.
No, not gonna happen.
The only possible way is if he's in the crowd somehow. That's it. He's not in the match, not gonna be in the ring. He's like, I think Bret Hart was at a fight recently, and the camera panned to him. I think that's the only thing. Maybe the camera will, pan to Daniel Bryan. That's the only possibility I see.
A WWE tag team wrestler got fired for being at a TNA show.
Yes.
Who was that?
God, I can't remember who it was, but they showed him. I'm pretty sure it was a pay-per-view.
It was one of the Highlanders.
Yep, that's who it was.
The story behind
whoa. There can only be one Highlander.
That was their tag team name, right? Now you got me confused. I got the reference, but now it made me wonder, did I get the tag team name wrong?
They were called the Highlanders.
What the hell? I think Edge was in one of the third or the fourth one.
I think you're right.
But anyway, so the story is TNA used to tape all their stuff at, I think, what was it, Orlando Studios?
Yep.
So he was visiting and with his kid, and he was like, I'm going to go see a wrestling show. And then he got put on the TV, and you can see him looking so uncomfortable, like looking down, trying not to acknowledge the cameras there, and it's just like, oh, man.
Then he got fired.
Yeah.
Looks like Highlander Endgame from the year 2000. So this is really even before he made it big, and he won King of the Ring at one point, didn't he?
Yeah,
yes.
Edge.
I actually saw something interesting. He's the only one to have done what is considered a full house, which is Royal Rumble, King of the Ring. One other thing I forget.
A championship at WrestleMania?
No, he's gotten all the championships.
Money in the Bank, maybe?
Money in the Bank, yes. Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble, King of the Ring, all the championships.
Jeez.
Wow. And what are they calling it?
It's considered a full house. The only one who's ever come close is Sheamus. He's got
Really?
he's gotten all the titles.
I thought, wow, okay.
What's he missing?
He's missing.
King of the Ring.
No, he's got King of the Ring.
No.
Sheamus?
King
Oh, that's
Sheamus.
right. They brought it back.
Yep.
He's missing Intercontinental Championship.
Wait, no. Are you sure? He didn't win King of the Ring.
2015.
Yes, he did. King Sheamus.
Wait, no, 2010. 2015 it was
Yeah,
Wade
the
Barrett.
I was going to say it was
2010
Wade Barrett, but okay. They brought King of the Ring back in 2010?
King Sheamus.
Oh, all
He's got
right.
Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble, every championship except Intercontinental, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I'm young,
We can take a peek here.
even though I've watched his whole career.
I'm trying to think. I feel like he might have held the IC title, but I could be wrong.
I feel like he did too, but I can't say for sure. But our Google machine says
Good old-fashioned
He's been
Google
WWE
machine.
champion, world
WWE
heavyweight,
champion.
tag
Yeah.
in United States.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And he had some slammies. Okay.
I guess
Royal
if you want to
Rumble
count
Money in the
those. So,
Very interesting.
the closest to a full house, next to Edge, who has done it all.
All right, last question of the day. Sheamus in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yes.
Sheamus's Mohawk for Hall of Fame.
Ooh. Celebrity wing or?
No, 2 rings. Sheamus's
Okay.
Mohawk.
Ric Flair's still the only person with 2 rings?
Yep.
That's going
Yes.
to change though, right?
Shawn Michaels is going to get 2.
So, because...
How so?
DX.
Would they do that?
Why not? And I think
that way the New Age Outlaws
I
gets
think
in,
a couple
I hope, I guess.
I think a few people in the NWO will get 2 rings too.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
sure.
who do they consider as NWO Hall of Fame right
The
now?
original 3, in
Yeah.
my opinion,
Right?
Yeah, that's what I would say.
with Virgil.
So
no, I would
Just
say
kidding. No Virgil.
With Virgil. Is that a real?
it's so we're not putting 6 in there or the Giant
For
You're
NWO,
saying
no.
just the
As of
first
right
3.
now, the first 3. That's what
Okay.
I would say.
Would you have a gripe if you're Virgil?
Of course, you're
Or
Virgil.
or that guy
Of course,
who
you'd have a gripe.
or that guy who looks like Dog the Bounty Hunter?
Oh, what was his name?
It was like the Guardian or something like that. Or,
The
you know what?
Disciple?
The Disciple.
The Disciple.
Do you know
yeah.
who that was?
Who was that?
That's Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Really?
No way.
Yes, the
Wow.
Disciple. Look it up. Mm-hmm.
You're lying to my
No
face.
I'm
way.
telling you the truth.
Is this a rib?
That's not a rev. It was Brutus the Barber Beefcake, as Conrad Townsend calls
Oh
him.
my word.
Would you look
That
at
is
that?
crazy.
Wow, I had no idea.
I had no clue.
Look at that picture.
Brutus.
He was in
Barber
ridiculous shape.
Beefcake. Oh my god.
I thought that was some young stud, dude. Like seriously.
I thought it was Dog the Bounty Hunter. This is
That's
crazy.
That is mind blowing. I had
Wow.
no idea.
Well, I
The
guess
more you know.
Yeah, I
That
guess
wow. That's kind of blowing my mind.
that's
right
blowing
now.
my mind. I guess that's a good way to end the show.
I think the sheer fact of it,
The sheer
should
fact of it.
the sheer fact of Brutus the Barber Beefcake being in the NWO is worthy enough of Hall of Fame.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Man, that's something else. Yeah, you're gonna have to
can't
include
forget
him.
his great match at WrestleMania 9.
Oh boy.
Hey,
I
the
can't-
barbershop
opponent?
window got broken on his show.
I can't believe that right
who,
now.
Who through the window? And who is in the Hall of Fame?
Good point.
All right, folks. Well, there you have it. Thanks for listening. Catch us on social media.
Yep, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Search for the Schmozcast.
All right, for Chandler, Aiden, Andre, I am Anthony. Have a good week.